What was the accused persons alleged to have done?
And so they had alleged to have done a series of acts, mainly preparation and an attempt to overthrow the government and conspiracy to overthrow the government of the Republic of Ghana. That's broadly. But specifically, there are certain offenses they did. So they created several WhatsApp platforms where they could plan and come together and connive. They actually turned the laboratory of a hospital, a so-called, I don't want to mention the name of the hospital, but a hospital in Accra, into an armory and a weapons manufacturing factory.
What kind of weapons were they manufacturing from the laboratory?
Bombs. And so they were not necessarily using the tools for the laboratory as injections, just the space for the manufacturing and creation of bombs. And they even attempted to get a senior administrative staff from Burma camp to try and get weapons from the armory of the Ghana Armed Forces to help bolster their efforts.
How were they hoping to execute this plan?
That is the problem.
In 2019?
That's the problem. And I think they were, 2018, and I think they were being quite delusional, because in contemporary times, it is not very easy to get up. You know, initially, 24th February, the military men got up from the infantry battalion and overthrew. And then the year later, Operation Guitar Boy, where the troops came from, Ho, the battalion in Ho, and that's where Kotoka died at the airport. And that's why the counter coup. And that's why Kotoka is, the airport's called Kotoka. They intended to jam the National Communications Authority at airports by the UMB building, jam the system so that MTN, Airtel, Tigo, and Vodafone will not work, internet will not work, TV stations will not be able to broadcast, and then they would only use GBC as a state broadcaster to announce that.
But if you jam the NCA, GBC may also be jammed, or they have a way of isolating GBC.
Possibly, that's up to them.
So they're doing jamming for a moment, and then who was going to make the announcement?
We are not really privy to those details because it was a preparation. You see, it wasn't an offense in execution. The thing about treason is that treason in and of itself is an offense. Attempting to commit treason is an offense. Preparing to commit treason is an offense. And even conspiracy to commit treason is an offense. And the rationale is that treason is an offense that is so high that it's tantamount to murdering a society itself. So it's not just about taking a knife and killing somebody, but it goes to the core.
You are toppling the whole society.
You are toppling the whole society in and of itself. And so it is not just an attack against the government, but it is an attack against the society. And initially we heard there were jokes on social media. People were saying, oh, but I mean, how can people get up and overthrow the government? The government is just trying to create something. But upon admission of evidence in the courts, and when it became apparent and obvious that it was something that was quite serious, then we were privy to the fact that that is indeed what they had intended.
So what were they discussing on the WhatsApp platform, for instance?
So they were discussing several things, such as the operations for the day, securing logistics.
How were they going to, say, arrest the people in power? President, speaker, vice president? What were they going to do with that?
So there was an initial plan that was mooted, that they would get them at a conference or a meeting. They would then use gas to get them to sleep.
At a meeting?
Yeah, at a meeting.
All the people in a meeting?
All the people in a meeting.
A meeting, like conference, international conference?
Maybe they are there doing
ECOWAS meeting.
Get them to... Well, ECOWAS is an international thing.
No, a meeting is a lot of people. If a president is at a meeting, that's a lot of people.
Yeah, but you see...
They would sleep.
They would sleep, and then... But you see, the thing is, it may sound funny.
Yes.
But so long as you have formed the mens rea...
Yeah, I get it.
No matter how ridiculous it is, if we allow... And it has happened before. During Rawlings's time, there was an attempted coup. And that attempted coup just took one person who broke out of Nsawam with one pistol. Just one pistol. And he was actually going to castle to overthrow Rawlings. So if you go to Nsawam prison today, in front of the entrance of Nsawam prison, there is a sort of... It's like this table where, because some of the prison guards were killed there. And so it was erected in their honor to sort of honor them. It was just one pistol. It wasn't even a modern pistol. One pistol. He managed to break out of Nsawam and was going to topple the government. So I don't think...
Ridiculous as it appears.
Ridiculous as... Yes.
It's still a preparation to commit treason.
But even in history, Christian Ball Castle was governed by a black chief for a short period of time.
Based on treason.
Not treason per se, the Akwemu, he was an Akwemu chief.
Yeah.
He went, they disguised themselves, and they overtook Christianborg Castle for a day. It's not something that...
So that's like a mutiny.
Yeah. But you see, mutiny is often if
the military.
you are the one under, and then you
come up, yeah.
You come up, yeah. That's what mutiny is.
But this will be the same. If the Akwamu chief is not at the level of the colonial governor.
But it's not under the colonial governor.
Well, the colonial governor was the boss of everyone. And the boss of every chief, as it were.
Oh, they were fighting him. I mean,
okay, so you mean they were competitors?
They were competitors.
It was about war.
And they only formalized colonialism in 1874. So long as... But that was what happened. And so the discussion shouldn't be about whether or not it is...
Well, the plan was... You are saying that irrespective of how ridiculous the plan sounds,
yes,
it shouldn't suggest, therefore, that we shouldn't have proceeded on trial.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because so long as the mens rea has been formed,
people
you can get people to rally around. So what were the charges? I wouldn't want to go through A1, A2, A...
that's too long.
That's too long. So it was conspiracy to commit crime, namely high treason, contrary to sections 23 of the Criminal Offences Act and Article 3, Clause 3A of the 1992 Constitution. So we have, we have the hierarchy of laws. We have crimes. Our primary criminal or offense creating statute is Act 29. But we have the Constitution, which also creates crimes. So we have constitutional crimes. High treason is a constitutional crime. High crime is a constitutional crime. High crime is when the Supreme Court rules on a provision of the Constitution in an attempt to enforce it, and then you sort of violate or you disobey the orders of the Supreme Court. That's high crime.
What's the punishment?
In imprisonment, but for the president and vice president, it's impeachment.
It's a crime that could be committed by the president.
Yes.
When the court directs him to do something, he doesn't do it.
Exactly. So remember Margaret Balfour, Nana B and Margaret Balfour against Attorney General, where former President Dramani Mahama had brought the persons, the Guantanamo Bay.
The Guantanamo Bay people into Ghana.
And the Supreme Court ordered that no, they should go and follow the due processes. They brought an
application against President Mahama.
Yeah, Nana B and Margaret Balfour brought an application against the president. The Supreme Court actually ruled in their favor and held that a formal treaty should be executed on behalf of the Republic of Ghana, sanctioned and supervised by Parliament in order to regularize the presence
stay here.
So I think they left last year or last 2 years ago. And so count 2 is high treason in and of itself, contrary to Article 3 of the 1992 Constitution and Section 180 of Act 29. And then Colonel Samuel Kojo Gamele was charged with abetment of crime, namely high treason. So abetment, that is helping, aiding, and whatever, advice, whatever.
So he got out?
It was Agbojo.
Got out. So Gamele is in?
Yeah, Agbojo.
Agbojo, ACP, see?
Yes,
ACP
he was out. So
him, Colonel Gamele was...
Yeah, they were all found
convicted?
Yeah, convicted. The doctor died. He would have been found. The doctor of the hospital
would have been convicted as well.
Yeah. But Agbojo, so Agbojo, the reason he was set free was that all the charges were dropped. No, the court ruled that or dismissed the suit in respect of him was because, despite the fact that he was engaged at all material points in time, he was supposed to, or the prosecution should have shown that he had knowledge of
the reason why he was being engaged.
The reason why he was being engaged.
But what did what did he think the reason was? What did Agbojo tell the reason?
That he was joining an NGO.
That is talking about government.
That's talking about government, responsible government. And so there was a time a seminar was organized where he spoke and he was giving advice to some of the members of the NGO, and all those things are legal.
He was unaware of the laboratory?
Yes, because initially they had the common group. That was proposed, the NGO common group. But then they had an executive forum.
Well, I heard that there was another white WhatsApp platform that he wasn't part of.
Yes, which was the executive.
Like an inner caucus kind of thing.
Essentially. Yeah. And so the idea was to use that inner forum as the brain and then work through the people at the
next level.
Yeah.
So but the central committee.
Good. But if you let that idea also go out quickly, you will be caught. Before Rawlings overthrew Agyapong, there had been plans long before, and meetings were held in his house with his wife was present. We had an interview. We interviewed an old man who was Buzia's
I remember that, yeah.
Who spoke about all those things that they had even heard that those things were going on. And even Darocha at his chambers at Well, yeah, he was at Adaraka, but he moved to where the National Mosque used to be, Abu Sulkan, where they are constructing the
Overpass,
Obechebi Lamte interchange. And at all times, Darocha writes that he was scared because if it goes out that under military regime, the UP people were meeting, it would have been interpreted as
preparing to
overthrow.
Yeah.
And so they did not let people or people of the class of ACP Agojo know
about it.
The details of it. Theirs was they would mastermind it and then come in and let it out on them.
Is Colonel Agemele a 7 Army colonel or he's retired?
For now, I am not aware of that.
They would have said retired if he was. Okay.
And so this is what the Constitution says about treason, essentially. That any person who by himself, in concert with others, by any violent or other unlawful means, suspends or overthrows or abrogates this Constitution or any part of it, or attempts to do any such act, or aids and abets, commits the offense of high treason.
Wow.
So that is why, that's the
So why was it 3 judges sitting as High Court judges?
So for treason, generally, High Court, it's a judge.
Single judge, yeah.
A single judge. But for treason, the law prescribes that 3 judges would sit. Initially, out of the revolution, it used to not necessarily be the High Court, but it used to be what we call the regional tribunals.
Yeah, those tribunals.
Yes, but as time went on and we entered democratic dispensation,
the tribunals.
Yeah, it looks like it was a vestige of dictatorial times.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
now, the rationale for giving 3 judges the jurisdiction to hear such a matter such as treason is that it is so serious, fundamental, and crucial to the upbringing and the making of a society that it is important to have other eyes on board.
Should they be unanimous in their verdict, or they can be 2-1?
If it's majority,
majority 2-1.
Majority, it goes against you.
Majority is fine.
Yes.
Okay.
Majority.
On this occasion, were they unanimous?
It was unanimous.
All right.
It serves as it looks like the Supreme Court. Mm-hmm. When I say it looks like the Supreme Court, not that they have the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court.
Okay, but an appeal from here goes to Court of Appeal.
Appeal from here goes to the Supreme Court.
Appeal from the treason trial goes straight to the Supreme Court.
Okay. Appeal from treason trial goes to Supreme Court.
All right.
And so this is essentially what's happened, and it's further the law. But the interesting thing here is that if you attempt to oppose somebody who indeed abrogates the Constitution by committing high treason, you are actually supposed to be praised.
Yes.
And the Supreme Court is supposed, upon application, is supposed to rule in your favor and even give you compensation, order for compensation.
If you were stopping the coup makers.
Yes. There's history. So we all know the case of Ekwam against PNM.
Yes, correct.
Where the court held that upon the overthrow of Liman, everything Kojo PNM, Kwame PNM attempted to do was tantamount, and Atuguba used the words, tantamount to erecting a defense on a dead body. I'm quoting. In this situation, what the Constitution is trying to do is, they are trying to preserve life beyond those acts or attempted acts, so that in case even there is a coup, something happens, and I try to I be a Kwame PNM in future, I am supposed to be heralded as a hero, and not. But that is also something.
This is trying to correct what looks like an error of the Kwame PNM ruling.
Possibly.
Okay.
I disagree with that ruling because I think technically it was right.
Yeah, that's the point I was coming to. It's technically very correct.
Technically, it's right.
The Establishment Proclamation had established a clearly new government.
Yes.
If therefore you overthrow that government, you are overthrowing the government that the people of Ghana have accepted.
Yes.
It is treason.
Yes. But you see, there's always the but you see.
Yeah.
The rationale and spirit behind every democratic dispensation.
I hear you.
We cannot say that it is justified for that spirit to be thrown away.
Yeah.
Just because
on the basis that Ghanaians have accepted.
Exactly.
The other point you can make is that because it's a military rule, how do you determine whether people have truly accepted or have been cajoled into accepting by the power of the gun?
Because
curfew everywhere, military on the streets.
Yes, and that's
civil
what I always
servants
say.
are told to go to work.
That's what I always say. That
so I get that
when
point.
people attempt to use crowds as a metric, that crowds on the road as a metric to say that a coup is popular, it's very dangerous. Yeah. Assuming Akufo Addo was overthrown today, I can guarantee you people will go on the streets.
That's it. Therefore,
not necessarily because Akufo Addo is a bad president, but he has people who don't like him.
Yeah.
If Mahama is also overthrown, People will go out to. It doesn't
Every
mean
coup in Ghana has been celebrated, including
Yeah.
the 2066 coup.
It doesn't mean that it is generally
Accepted.
accepted.
But that's what we use. We use footage, and they say that the Malian leadership junta is very popular.
It is to justify their actions.
Yeah.
It's to justify their actions. Even Biden, if Biden was overthrown today, or if Trump was overthrown today,
In those
people
days.
will go out. Assuming, hypothetically.
This is a conversation you have to continue with.